So we talked about the history, you getting into it. Yeah, this is you, by the way. I'm sure,
Yeah.
but that's you. I keep rewinding it just so it keeps going. But we talked about the history. You got into hip hop. You're talking about the culture, the family, everything, and it's built up to this point of where you've crossed that line of being amateur, pro amateur, to being, hey, I am starting to become um I,
A
okay.
DJ.
Well, not only a DJ, but
Because yeah,
is it,
recording artist.
not even that, man. Just because I see it from the point of there is a DJ and there is what you do, turntablism.
Right.
Like you said it, Qbert, you, the rest of the beat junkies, beat minders, all you guys that have earned that title or have went to these competitions, any one of you guys dissected that turntable, that record. You've studied the anatomy like a brain surgeon would a brain, and you put it back all together, and you went at it. And I want to also lead with this too. If you gotta smoke, drink, piss, or whatever, please by all means go ahead. Yeah, this isn't like a running thing. We're not live or anything. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't have beer. Sorry.
yeah. Do
But
whatever
go
you
on. Go on.
do,
Go
man.
on. So
If you need a break, go ahead. If you
no.
need to answer a call, go ahead.
Okay.
But you guys dissected this 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 item, right? And you guys went into it, you guys studied it, you guys understood, hey, if I cut the record like this, it does that.
Right.
And I want to know that point in time. What was that like for you?
Uh. So again, uh, I was actually my first love actually uh was drawing art. So that's why I was
Yeah.
a graph artist and stuff. So I was drawing anime, doing comic books. Of course, there was the pressure of like, what are you going to do? You know, how you get this question. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to go to college? What are you going to go to school for? You know, you know,
Yeah.
and I was a late bloomer. Um, a lot of my friends they knew already what they're, at least, the friends I was hanging out at the time, they're going to do this, they're going to go to this school, they're going to do that. I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I decided, it's like, well, my dad was an engineer. He was a mechanical engineer.
That's crazy because my dad was a mechanical engineer.
I didn't have his skills. My
No,
mom,
on
my mom,
AutoCAD.
my no, he was a when he retired, he was a chief engineer for the Western Bonaventure Hotel. So
Really?
yeah. So, but my mom, she was an accountant, but she's very artistic, so she can draw and she can do craft stuff. So I kind of got the artistic side from her and stuff.
Yeah.
I tried to first try to go. Let me try being an engineer, and I realized I had no patience for that. I didn't, even though like if my dad's fixing a car, I would help him like this, but I'd just get bored or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just rather draw. So eventually, I decided, okay, like career, let me go into, you know, let me parlay my love for drawing into go to school, get a college degree. Now, mind you, still doing graph, kind of slowed down popping, but I was doing more graph and DJing. So I was DJing still, like uh, like had a mobile, had a mobile DJ crew and stuff. So uh, if you heard about the stories, like especially on California and West Coast, Filipinos were very active as DJs, especially with the mobile DJ scene. There's a book out there about Filipino American mobile DJ scene by Professor Oliver Wang, a good friend of mine who's originally from the Bay. as a professor over at Cal State Long Beach, but he wrote a book on basically on the Filipino American mobile DJing scene in the Bay Area. That's where like Hubert, Mixmaster Mike, Shortcut, everyone that from the Bay Area came from there. LA was doing the same thing too.
I'm so sorry. Mixmaster Mike's Filipino?
Half Filipino, half white.
No shit. All right.
No shit.
Let me write this book down if you don't mind.
Yeah. Let me hold on. Let me Google it right now for you.
Yeah. I'd love to read it. Anything you have, any documents or anything, I'd love to read them.
You can, if you Google it, it's like okay. So, but start looking for his Instagram. I'm gonna just
no worries, man. I wrote Oliver Wayne Mobile DJing.
Filipino American mobile DJing. The history of
easy enough.
Yeah, right there. So, yeah, he talks about like a lot of I had part of a mobile DJ crew and stuff like that. So a lot of us Filipino American, like that were DJs, were mobile, doing the mobile DJing stuff before there was even DJ crew. Eventually, by 1989 is when DJing kind of was like, everybody thought it went to the apex and it started going down. Focus was more on the MCs and the rappers. They were starting not to get DJs. They were just more like stage props, and they would play music off of DAT tapes. So they weren't DJs, So yeah. So eventually, people got more want to be rappers and dancers and stuff because of the most limelight. When K-Day went off the air, that was a big void too as well. So yeah. So everybody thought that DJing got played out, and then only a few of us were still DJing, and like I still like to DJ. The irony of it, when I started going to college for it, for being try to be a graphic artist, I used to I love DJing. I mean, I love drawing and stuff, but when I was going to school for it, it become like work, and DJing was still was there for me as my getaway, my therapy and stuff, right? Like I remember I would work on my ass off on a certain project, did a great job, put it up there and it would be for critique, right? So yeah, I was trying to go from being like a more commercial artist and stuff, do for ads and stuff. The teacher would rip my shit apart. I would work my ass off, and it's like, nope. And it became not fun. And then it got also pressure from my parents and from my relatives. My uncle, rest in peace to them and stuff, we used to be close. He was an architect, but he was also an artist. But same thing on some, he was on some Mr. Miyagi shit, just like, you can't do, I want to do what you, no, yeah, you need to do this way. And it was just like, it became, so I tried to do what he wanted me to do. And I even applied for this, there's a school called Art Center, based in Pasadena. It's it was a top school in art. I went there for a program called Saturday High. I went there for Saturdays for high school students who was thinking of going there. And I, just try it out. And I remember just going there. That was so blown away, just oh shit, intimidated. And then talking to students over there, because I was like, yo, so what do you guys do for fun or whatever? You guys oh man, you gotta eat, shit, drink, piss, art.
Really?
And I was like, you don't go out? Man, I can't DJ? Well, there was pressure from parents. Culture, right? So that was the thing. He's like, you got to get a degree. You can't be DJing for the rest of your life. This is what you're going to do. You're going to scratch for the rest of your life? I don't understand this scratch thing. Go. The thing is either you be a doctor, a nurse, an architect, an engineer, an accountant, but not an artist, let alone a DJ, right?
About a 10 sign, it'd be that for the impersonation.
Yeah, so I mean, for real, watch Joe Coy. If you watch Joe Coy, he talks about his mom. That's basically any type of Filipino mom or parent.
Yeah.
You know. So that's
I've had that talk many a times.
right. So, and I was coming to a point where it's like like, even though I'm doing it, I wasn't like really into it. I was just going, right?
Doing it.
Just doing it, and this is like still getting. This is when I got really more into DJing and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and this is by the time, you know, still doing parties. But then this is when I like eventually started meeting, like, you know, I met J Rock, you know, and then, you know, I already know Curse already. You know, I started meeting people that was like-minded like me, that still wanted to cut it up, you know, just like still record shopping and shit, you know, like, and we were from different parts, different scenes and shit like that, but we all came from different crews or whatever, whatnot. But all of our friends that used to DJ with us, they're on the next thing. They're like, oh man, and whereas I connected with you know, like, there was a void, there was a bubble. So during this time, you got to think too, when, like, after DJ Aladdin, after '89, everybody think that's it. You can't do anything more after that.
Mm-hmm.
So so DJing kind of went underground. So we took whatever we from our heroes besides KD Mixmasters. Like, the Junkies were based loosely upon the KD Mixmasters, because KD Mixmasters was an all-star crew. I mean, they, like I said, Tony G, Julio G, Joe Cooley, DJ Aladdin, Battle Cat, Hen G, Ralph M from the Funk Dubious, M-Walk, who DJ for Tone Loc, Bobcat, Battle Cat Bobcat. Yeah, those guys, you know, were our heroes. Those are like, they did everything. I mean, besides also whoever was coming out, like whether it be Jazzy Jeff, Cash Money, you know, Tap Money, Jam Master Jay, Marley Marl. I mean, for West Coast, KD Mixmasters, we were kind of based upon them, you know. So when they went off there, like I said, when KD went off the air, it was like a void. Everybody thought, again, DJ was played out. So so while I was connecting with Jay and Curse and some other people, you know, we weren't even called the BeatJunkies yet. We were just hanging out and just cutting it up, whatever. Obviously, Qbert and them, you know, Qbert, Mixmaster Mike. Yeah. And I used to hear about Q because, you know, being Filipino American, you would hear also through the grapevine, through the Filipino scene, is like, oh man, there's a cat named Qbert and shit like that, right? So,
yeah.
And then let alone, you wouldn't, and obviously in the East Coast, the X-Men or the Executioners, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were doing, so there was pockets. While everybody was like being rappers and dancers and stuff, DJing went underground. And we didn't know, we were part of that, you know, part of the thing. So when the Junkies formed, you know, little known, we didn't know that, you know, Q,
it would blow
yeah, they were, you know, they became the, you know, they were part of a group called FM20, eventually they were called Turntable Dragons, then became Rocksteady DJs, and then eventually become Vince Scratch Pickles.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw Scratch many fucking times, and I know the limelight was mostly on Q, you guys, Invisible, Scratch Pickles, all of them, but mostly Q and Mixmaster Mike.
Of course, because they mean, like I said, like Q, when Q won USA DMC and went to the Worlds, he should have won Worlds. He lost to DJ, you know, but everybody saw it. He changing the guard. Everybody, ever since then, when all Filipino kids saw that, everybody started wearing his hats. I didn't wear hats like him, but I was like, yo, and I knew, you know, I met Q because I was part of so they were part of Rocksteady crew in the Bay. I was part of Rocksteady crew LA. So I got to meet him through that thing and stuff like that. So, what do you call it? So, yeah, just, I already knew about Q, but just to him, back eventually, like, yo, holy shit. And again, it goes back to, like, if he can do it, I can do that. Right? That was that type of thing.
Awesome,
right?
I wish people had more of that invigoration, initiative.
Well, you know, like, it was like, well, I mean, I I don't know if I would ever make it to be a world champion, but it definitely inspired me to, like, you know what, I'm gonna do this more, this professionally wise. So here's the thing. There's a couple of things that would happen, what made me decide to go like really full forward. So while I was in college, one of my best friends and another cat were in a group called Brotherhood Creed. So I don't know if you're familiar with it. They had a hit song called Hell of a.
No, I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah. So a lot of it's kind of like hip hop. It's kind of popish. I wouldn't say popish, but so that was my taste into the
What was the song called?
Helluva, HELLUVA.
Got it.
Okay. The group is called Brotherhood Creed.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. So that was my taste into the music industry, the music business. You know, they were signed to MCA Records, shit like that. During that time, also, this is when I was still part of Rocksteady Crew. You know, Junkies weren't formed. Junkies were formed just right when I left Brotherhood Creed and stuff like that. So, but that was my taste into it. You heard Q-Tip saying, industry rule 4,080, record companies are shady. Everything's true about the music industry is no joke. It's really no joke. That shit
it's cutthroat.
It's very cutthroat.
Yeah. Any industry is cutthroat.
Yeah.
I'm sure the music industry is, just because it's not only word of mouth, but like you said, so improve.
Right. But the thing is, again, I didn't know. I'm still naive because I'm only seeing what's on the videos, records, and shit like that. Yeah. You don't see what's going on behind the scenes type shit. Right. I learned a lot from it. I got burnt big time. I got let go of the group. You know, some group members might say differently, but things, and I was still like a shy kid because I didn't know how, like I'm comfortable behind turntables, but the talk behind, like just the talk, the business and all that stuff, I was naive and shit like that. Yeah. And then again, call it music business for a reason. You're in the business of making music, making money off of music. And right. If you weren't making, if they didn't think you were doing, like it's gonna fit what they think. Because originally we wanted to go in on some De La Soul shit, and then Hell of a it was one of those one hit wonders, and it became big to a point where it was just dope. I mean, I got to be on Soul Train, for that and shit. So I was like, oh shit, I'm on Soul Train. But I learned a lot from it. I was bitter. I'm not gonna lie, I was bitter because of how shit was handled and stuff. I was even mad at my. Yeah. I was mad at my best friend, But in hindsight, it was probably the best thing because my best friend was trying, like not so many words, was trying, like, I didn't sign. I was still going to college. I wanted to get my degree and then give it to my parents, and then go full joy. But after I graduated, I wanted to go full force, and that's when shit hit the fan. Managers, people like cats were thinking, yeah. So, long story short, I got burnt, and I got depressed because I thought, like, this is my shot to get into something I love to do, and there it goes, right? And I went back to school and stuff until later on, opportunity of when I said, they were making music that I didn't want to make. It was getting more toward more radio thing, which is understandable. Well, like
I know the feeling, man.
Yeah, my heart, my heart was like, I want to make that shit where my heroes, they say your shit. I didn't care about the money. I was like, I want to impress my heroes. That was that. That's that. I want to say B-boy mentality, but that's that. That. Like, yeah, you want that respect. At one point, it was more like, the other member who was the lead rapper, and it was also the management team. They didn't think, you know, they thought I wasn't that, you know, and he was actually fighting for me, you know, but he was signed. He would tell me don't sign, and I was like, why? You know, he was dealing with all the bullshit and shit like that. He was looking out for me, but at the time I didn't understand. But that, like I said, everything happened for a reason, and I'm glad you know, things happened, because it made me go like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it what I want to do.
Yep.
And so that kind of like forced that. Because of that, Junkies were formed, and then eventually I met Kiku from the Visionaries, and that basically, you know, like, okay, when we linked up. I mean, you know, he's Japanese American MC. You know, like at that time too. Again, there weren't that many Asian MCs, many Asian rappers. So he was one of the very first people I've heard that was like, oh shit, you can spit. Because if there was, most of the time they were kind of cheesy, and I was on that type of like, if you ain't spitting like you can go like you're cheesy. Yeah. The thing is, here's the thing. I secret, like for me, and it's maybe a little bit different now, but for me at the time, you already know that I'm not black. I'm not Latino. You know, you already know I'm Asian. Mm-hmm. If you know, or you know, if you really look, you know, I'm Filipino.
Yep.
And hip hop, end of the day, it's your skills. It's your skills that has to spit, right? Absolutely. So my thing was like, I wanted to be respected for my skills. I don't want to be known as like, he's a dope Filipino DJ. I want people to say he's a dope DJ, but that happens to be Filipino.
Fuck the Filipino part, man. And like, you fucking hit the bullseye. He's a dope DJ. That like, that's it. You know.
But
like, he is a dope b-boy. You know, he's got some fucking ill moves.
Right.
On the third and the fourth.
But that again, that's in the pantheon of the hip hop culture. That's what basically you got to have the respect. You know, of course. I want to represent me as a Filipino, but in hip hop, to be really respected, you can't have at the time you can't be no gimmick. There should be no gimmicks whatsoever. You got to be authentic, right? So, So that was the thing for me. It's like, yeah, you should really look already who I am. You know, I'm not black. You know, I'm not Latino. You know, I'm not Mexican. I'm not this. I'm not Puerto Rican like that. Right. I'm not even Japanese. You know, I'm Asian descent or Pacific Islander. So, what am I going to do? Bring to the table?
Exactly. It's like, yo, here I am. What the fuck is up?
Right. But you already know that it is. But still, in my mind, I want to also like represent being Filipino. But I wanted. There was a lot. So the culture, the Filipino culture is a very beautiful thing. But we also have some, like there are things that, if you look at, we have very a lot of talented people within the Filipino community. But when I was growing up, I've seen a lot of them would emulate. There weren't that many Asians that were rapping at the time. So that was my chance to, like, when we connected, that was my chance to go back into it. Like, okay, I'm gonna go back and try this one more time. Because remember, I told you, Brother Creed, the situation with that made me depressed. Like, that was my only chance. Right. Yeah. So with that, I pursued to do, like, okay, I'm gonna do this again. And again, when I decided to do this, my parents were like, "What? Look what happened! You're gonna do this again? This is my turning. This is where it goes back to what you're saying. What was the point? What was the point when you decide you're gonna really fully do this? So it was this particular point when I met Key, and then the Junkies formed and stuff like that. And this is when I start. Okay, I'm gonna enter battles and stuff like that. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah. So the Junkies formed. Again, sorry to cut you off. Junkies formed. What was that emotion like? Like,
honestly,
you're from a different crew. Let's meet up and.
Well, J-Rock. It's the one who started it. Basically, J-Rock's the one who started it. Just like, we were all hanging out, and Jay just says, like, you know what? I've always wanted a crew. I wanted a dope crew. You know, we're all hanging out, so, you know, you guys are the only ones who are DJing and shit like that. We like the same things. We got the same humor, blah, blah, blah. I want a dope crew. We can call ourselves the Beat Junkies, and we're going to wear these Green Lantern rings. All right. Fuck it. And then we start wearing, when we go to DJ together, we wear all these Green Lantern rings. And it's just like, who are these guys wearing these Green Lantern rings? You know, like, came out, you know, like, you know. What's up?
It was mystifying. It was out
of... I mean, it was kind of like on some, like, at first, like, who are these guys? You know, because we weren't from LA proper.
Yeah.
We're from outskirts. We're like, you know, so we're like, it's the same thing.
Coast, but they didn't know where.
Yeah, we were part. You know, we were like, Cerritos, what? Orange County, what? You know, most, you know, people in LA proper haven't probably even gone outside or whatever like that. You know, but everybody has to go to LA. You know, so but yeah, when Junkies were forming, you know, J-Rock's black, African American, like, so it's crazy. The irony is that Executioners, X-Men, all black. Invisible Scratch Pickles, all Filipino.
Are they? Yo, I've seen Scratch so many times.
Yeah. So again, you found out that Mike's Mike's half Filipino. So
bananas.
Yeah. So Q, Mike, D-Style. Well, the funny thing is, D-Styles and Shortcut, they were Beat Junkies before they were Invisible Scratch Pickles.
Really?
So they were like they had dual memberships.
Yeah.
So okay, but yeah, like again, in terms of Filipinos, most of the time everybody would say Qbert because Qbert was the first one to kind of break that bubble, and then Mike was the first one to win. This is the crazy thing. Mike won the 1992 New Music Seminar battle. It's another battle at the time was big as DMC, but it was only held in New York, and it was thrown by like it was. I always like to say it's almost like the Apollo. You know how I remember like if you Showtime at Apollo, and if you didn't do good, Sandman come out and pull you out, dude. In New York, during that battle, they boo the fuck out of you if you ain't doing shit.
Oh, I bet, man.
And Mike, here's the craziest thing. You can look it up in YouTube.
Tell me.
Mixmaster Mike versus DJ Honda. So this is the craziest thing.
I love DJ Honda too, man.
So here's the craziest thing. They're in the finals. New York. Dr. Dre from Yo Two Raps, is hosting it. Now Honda from Japan.
Yep.
Mike from the Bay Area. No West Coast DJ have never won the New Music Seminar battle. Joe Cooley was this close to winning. It's Cash Money. Tony G was in the battle against Jazzy Jeff. But Mike, here's the craziest thing. Mike was the first West Coast DJ to win the New Music Seminar battle, and is Filipino American, you know, half Filipino, just a Filipino, right? You got two Asians. One is strictly from Asia, and one from here in the finals. Which mostly, if you look at in the battle, you see Rob Swift, you see Rock Raider, you see majority blacks, and you got two Asian cats. And Mike won that battle. Then he had to go battle at a setup. He had to battle the previous champion that won the battle before, and he was all ready. Mike didn't know it. They set him up, and he beat his ass.
Yo, hey, I love fucking setups, man, because you seen Freestyle Art of Rhyme?
Oh yeah, that's my boy that did the film and shit, you know.
Yo, so I got it. Well, I've been trying to confirm, half-heartedly confirmed. Supernat said, yeah, I'll do the interview tomorrow. So
tell him, you show him. Hey, Nat, do it.
the same shit you just said about Mike winning that
Right.
is the same feeling I felt when Super Nat won against not only Craig G but Juice.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, it's invigoration, it's virility,
No.
everything.
Okay. Well, the crazy, well, because I you know, when I DJ'd for Super Nat when he broke the world's record, you know, when he made and broke the longest freestyle, you know,
I threw
it
my
was,
shirt at him
huh?
when he rapped. I mean, that's just a minute. Go ahead.
But anyways, so what I'm trying to say is that, and the irony is that when Mike won that battle, that's when Q, Mike, and Apollo win the DMC World Champions. Just right after the seminar battle, they entered a battle for to beat. Was the first time they incorporated the team routine because Mixmaster Mike, Apollo, and Q were already a group, and when they said they're going to do teams, they came in there and fucked up. Apollo is an unsung hero too. One OG, original Scratch Pickles, Filipino, dopest DJ. Used to DJ for Souls of Mischief and for Buckshot the Funk. That's Bransford Marsalis' group and shit like that. So that was uncalled for and stuff. Apollo is the one that came up with the concept for the team routines. You know, that most of the stuff that you see between Qbert, Mixmaster Mike, and Apollo is really between Apollo and Mixmaster Mike that made up all those.
So for the International Turntablist Federation, that's
a little bit down the line. We took, so the stuff that we did, we took the same idea that they did and took it. You know, they did a 3-man, we did a 4-man, but we executed it more to another level and stuff like that. Yeah. So, you know, saying it back again, taking what's there
and giving it back.
And giving it back and flipping it. Flip it. Okay, you're going to do that? Make it different. How are you going to make it different from the original?
That's the shit that I talked to Cross about, Illa about. You have to give back in some way or form. You have to.
Totally. So, yeah. Fast forward to that thing, going back again to really, that's when I met, so when the Junkies were formed, when I met with Key, so Kiku and myself, we were called the Cosmonauts.
Yeah.
We were the first, you know, when I hooked up with them, I was working with other MCs, but didn't work out. With him, whatever reason, we worked out, maybe because we're also Asians and stuff, but he was dope. So connected on, you know, and originally I was supposed to only just make beats for him. And then I just said, you know what? Why don't we just become a group? So I kind of in my head, I was kind of like, wanted us to be like on some, like an Asian version of Gangstar. You know? So we were the first, you can say we're the first Asian American rap group to break out in an independent independent hip hop scene. You know, we we came out in 94, 95, had Raz Kaz and Saphir, and we got featured in the Source and Rap pages. That was big during those days and stuff. So
yeah, I read the article.
Yeah, I mean, Mountain Brothers, salute to them. They were the first Asian American rap group to get signed to a majors, but we were the first one to be independent, to come out like, you know, independently and stuff. And you know, again, yes, we're Asian, but we wanted to show our thing was like, we can rock this shit. We just happen to be Asians.
And you did. I don't know when the Beat Junkies volumes came out
later on, like 98. So, but I want again. I'm trying to
go ahead.
So, anyways, because of that, my parents didn't want me to go full force into this, and this is, like I said, this is the turning point. The turning point.
They saw the fruition. If you did
no. Well, here's the craziest thing. So, they didn't see the fruition. They didn't see the fruition until later on, until '99. Okay, they were still hating. They did well. My dad passed away in 2009, but he was my biggest supporter. You know, so thank you. So, I mean, of course, I had to sit down, had to talk with him on some man-to-man thing, like saying, "Look, Dad, my mom was yelling, screaming like you ain't, no, yeah. Didn't want it, right, right." It was a turning point in a lot of things because at the time, I broke up with my first girlfriend. Broke up. That depressed. That was depressing. A lot of my friends were moving out. I was still living at home.
Way worse than that.
And it was one of those things. It's like, yo, I got to do something. Like if I don't do this, I want to have you guys' blessing, but I have to do this, and I want to at least try. If I'm gonna fail, at least I did it.
Yeah.
I would love to have your blessings. If you don't give me your blessings, I'm gonna go regardless. And so my dad says, you know what? As a man, I respect that. I'm gonna talk to your mom.
That's very hard for a ethnic mom. It's super hard.
No, because most of the time it's like in in that type of environment and cultures, like you stay there until you get married. You stay home. But for me, I already know that if I stayed home, I will never learn how to grow. Anything else. It'd be kind of like another thing too is also like being an only child, you get the stereotype being the like spoiled and stuff like that.
Spoiled. You have to be the only man.
Well, and so yeah, so I mean, again, that was a thing that that is my turning point right there. And then later on, when I got the approvals, when I finally it was like, all right, because I've never invited them to my shows. I never tell them everything. I never, So I finally first big tour I ever been to was Jurassic 5, Dilated People's BeatJunkies Supernatural.
That's a big
tour. Yes. So we performed at the House of Blues.
That's a Hollywood. Bigger place to perform.
Yeah. So that's legitimate thing.
Yeah.
So I decided. Right. So was that
in Los Angeles?
Yeah. In Hollywood. Yeah.
That's a big fucking place to do it.
Yes. So I decided, you know what? You guys really want to see what I do? I invite them to go to my first show. And that's when he knows what he's doing. Like that. So
I wasn't there for that show, but and I strictly from fans my age and who are gonna listen to this.
Right.
Literally, man. Kudos. You did it. You did it. At least from my perspective, being an immigrant child.
Right.
You fucking did it, man.
I mean, I've been very lucky, but it wasn't easy. Like you're going to what you were saying about what I've learned from this is that you've got to be true to yourself, and it's kind of hard for us being kids of children of immigrants because there's a generation gap and there's a cultural gap.
Yep.
And they only understand certain things, so which is understandable, and it's a consistent battle, consistent struggle to do that. So that's just one battle I have to deal with and stuff. So I've learned that it was scary. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like
you're not.
They keep in your head. You're not. How are you gonna make your money? Are you going to do this and this and that?
Because you said it before. How you said you were in Manila. I'm not performing for my home country. But now that you said that, I'm performing for my fucking parents.
Right.
That home country. parents, God, whatever you do.
Right.
But parents,
Yeah. So it's
cutthroat. That is
yeah.
more cutthroat than any other battle, any other competition, any other type of competition in the world. You have to show and prove for the parents.
Still to this day, still do.
My stepdad was is a mechanical engineer.
Mhm.
So I understand that. It's very it's black and white, logical thinking. It has to meet point A to Z at some point, and it doesn't have to matter anyway but that way from A to Z. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Because you and I come from the same fucking background as we talked the
Right.
last how many, it doesn't say, but the last fucking hour and a half, I'm assuming.
Right.
You and I are the eclectics of this conversation. You became the world-class DJ. I just became the guy that interviewed you. I totally understand what you mean. That our dads were ultimately
Traditionalists.
traditionalists. You sit
Yeah. Like
bullseye.
the traditionalists. Like it's very traditional and stuff.
And
So
my mom, she didn't go exactly the type of way an Iranian mom would have, but I got you of what your dad wanted.
right. I mean, my dad, my mom too. My mom right now is saying, "When are you gonna give me grandkids?" You know, Filipinos are mostly Catholics, right? My mom's like, "I want grandkids." I was like, "I can give you grandkids. You have to get married first." It's like one or the other, mom. It's not.
Yeah, yeah, I gave my mom both, and now she is up my. I hope she don't see this because she views all these IG lives. And she,
No,
yeah,
but yeah, uh, like I said, no, God bless my mom, though. But yeah, it's just like when I was like,
again, hashtag God bless moms.
there you go. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but
Um,
yeah, but that is pretty much my when I said this is it. Go for broke. Go hard or go home.
yeah,
You know, and I honestly, once I decided to go, I even whatever failures, I still kept them going because it's like I right now, what am I gonna do? I can't. I don't want to go back to what like I already know I was unhappy trying to do that thing. So this, as much as I was like even broke at that time or whatever, this kept me going to this day. So I would say it's like, yeah, do what you got to do to pay bills, take care of your families, whatever. But don't lose that passion because that passion is going to keep you sane. This is
right,
I know you doing this that we're talking. This is therapeutic for you. That yeah, I've always told people like take care of business, but don't give up your passion because that makes you who you are. Like
right.
that's gonna honestly. I'm very blessed to do what I love to do, but I would still do this if I was in the military, if I was a janitor, whatever I was, because this is therapeutic to me. Keeps me going. So this is, like I told you, the music business is no joke. It's cutthroat. It's chew you up and spit you out. I had to remind myself, why do I do this? Because I love DJing. I love making beats. I love hip hop. I love the culture. That's what keeps me going.
Going into that, perfect segue. I want to ask you two questions left, and this is probably going to be a very long topic for both. What was your creative drive? And I want to talk exponentially about the BeatJunkies Institute of Sounds. Uh, One, about your creative drive. I mean, literally, I'm watching you do this, but nonetheless, giving. You said the give back to the community, and I think so. I've again, I've only had a handful, literally seven, seven that I could count on my hands. That's a one topic I want to talk about, and we talked about it at the beginning. The Beat Junkie Sounds Institute of Sound. You opened up pretty much a warehouse, not you per se, but the collective.
Yeah.
You
Well,
you you made it into a science lab of music, which is beautiful, and
thank
you
you.
opened it to kids. I what's the minimum age?
Our youngest is about 8 or 9 years old, and our oldest is 53 years old.
That that is the most incredible thing I've heard about. Uh, aside from like um physical schools, you know, like yoga, gyms, shit like that, to be enabled to do art form like art, you know, painting. You know, anyone can do painting. Not
Right.
anyone. Anyone can create, but they can't actually create. But anyone that can create this type of shit that
Right.
you do on a day to day is very hard. But the fact that the Beat Junkies Institution of Sound enables people to actually go ahead, I by far jaw dropping, man. Not only do I think you're keeping kids out the streets, but you're keeping people not entertained, but interested in music. The
Right.
same way you were when you heard Planet Rock
Right.
or Egyptian Lover.
Right.
And I think that's the most important part of getting into something the way that you did. I
Well,
that is not only. I'm sorry to keep going, but that is not only a blessing on your behalf, your crews, your moms, your late dad. Rest in peace. Rest in paradise. Yeah, that must worth its weight quadruple for the soul.
yeah. So to go back to what you're saying in terms of the creative drive and stuff like that. Again, I say this. I have to. We all remind ourselves, what are you doing this for?
Yeah,
What are you doing this for? And it goes back to like, how come you know what do you go back to, it's like you do this because you love what you do. You do, you know, like I still like digging for records. I still like making beats. I still like cutting it up. I like to talk hip hop. I like to, you know, like meeting my heroes. Like I mean, to even consider it a work class. Even though like cats still say that, I'm still a fan. That keeps me, for me personally, that keeps me going in terms of like, because I still love, I geek out. Like you know, like I'm honored that you're like, oh man, you're like, no, I'm just like you. I'm just happen to be another, just a higher little level, but I'm still the guy that's like, I geek out. Like, if you told me 20, 30 years ago that I'd be friends with some of my heroes, I'd be like, I can't, you know, some of my people I looked up to. I mean,
you're telling.
granted, some people are saying the same thing too. Is like, don't meet your heroes. I have met people that I looked up to and I kind of turned off. That also was a lesson in itself, that don't be that person. You know, like try not to be that person and shit like that. So I learned a lot. You know, no one's perfect because we're human. You know, end of the day, we fuck up every day. You
Yep.
know, some of us just happen to be in a better positions per se. You know, but it really comes down to it's just that you love. You talk to, if you talk to anyone, like say you, when you do get to talk to Supernet, I'm sure when you talk to Mr. Lin, you talk to Kilu, there's always a thing about being genuine love, being a fan for what they got. This is why they're still doing it. You know,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
that's the difference between, I guess, certain people like who are making moves per se versus those who are on the outside. Because I used to be the person like talking shit, like, what is he doing? Then I realized if I'm talking shit, but I'm not doing anything, I'm no better. You know, like who, you know, as the saying goes, if you're gonna point fingers, get ready for have 10 fingers point back at you. You know, because you know, like, all right, you don't like it, what can you do? It comes down to that. It's like, instead of complaining, what are you gonna do about it? So that kind of segues into in terms of the school. So many times over the years, we had to somewhat kind of like reinvent ourselves, you know, as artists, as DJs, whatever, whatnot. After our 20, you know, when the Junkies celebrated our 20-year anniversary in 2012, that was a big, you know, like we didn't, like, if you really think about out of the 3 quote unquote major DJ crews, turntablism,